All right, are you guys ready? How was party last night? Did anyone party? Anyone hangover? Anyone still drunk? No? Okay. All right, so today I'm going to talk about a cheap doorbell device I tested recently, an Ecovacs vacuum robot cleaner, a cheap Android smart TV box, a Zyxel NAS vulnerability, and how I believe IoT should work. So why did I create this talk? I think it's important to learn from the past mistakes. You are all aware of IoT devices, so I should not tell this to you, but still I think it's an important message. And beware of IoT developers, if you are an IoT developer, sorry. And know your IoT devices if you have at home. Who here does not have any smart device at home? Hands up. Okay. You are getting fewer and fewer every year. So this is how it is. So my name is Zoltan Balazs, and I'm usually enjoying creating offensive tools. For example, I'm really proud of the hardware firewall bypass tool. I presented it here at DEF CON 11 years ago, which means I'm old. Yeah, I'm also kind of proud that a piece of code I wrote, it ended up running on 600,000 IP cameras. The way it happened is that I found an authenticated command injection vulnerability, and I published it, and turned out that there was a very easy authentication bypass also in the IP camera. So a botnet picked up my code and used it to hack IP cameras. Yeah, such is life. So I was never a fan of smart home sorry? Okay, yes. All right, cool. So I did not write this tweet that tech enthusiasts use all of smart devices, but tech workers, they only have a printer and they keep a shotgun next to it. But this could be me, actually. And I was especially never a fan of home automation until I found this one. So it's an Alexa playbook. Alexa, intruder alert, turn off all the lights, turn volume on, say, so you have chosen death, play Doom Eternal official soundtrack 22, the only thing they fear is you, and release every Roomba. So I really like this one, except Alexa, but that's a different story. So let's start with this cheap doorbell. You may not have heard about this vendor, but that's okay. So the reason I started to look into this one, because there was a huge story around this doorbell. And when I looked into it, I was like, I really don't get why this is a huge story. It actually ended up that if you have physical access to the doorbell, which is outside of your house, where people should be there to, anyway. So then an attacker can factory reset the device and add his account as master. So yeah, I believe the vulnerability is that it was very easy to do this, but still it's, I don't know, not that interesting. But when I started to test this device, I found out that it has a very chatty debug log, and it's sending these debug logs over HTTP to some cloud servers. And I immediately found this part very interesting. It's blanked out. Guess what it was? Yes, what password? Yes, Wi-Fi password. So it was sending my home Wi-Fi password through HTTP to an unknown cloud server. Great job, right? I tried to contact the vendor. I could not. I was trying it multiple times, multiple ways. So I published it. I also sent it to Mitre for a CVE, but they are terribly slow nowadays, so no CVE so far for this one. Actually, I believe they have no idea. They have all of this data. Maybe some hackers know who already hacked the cloud servers, but whoever operates this, I think they have no idea. They have all this data. All right, next one, Ecovox dbot. The way this story started is a guy last year here in DEFCON was hacking these Ecovox vacuum cleaners. So I was like, okay, maybe there is another interesting thing to find here. And when I bought the device and I was trying to set it up, it was a horrible user experience. Like, I have no idea what sane home user would do this. I will read this to you, and you will be bored to death while I finish it. But I promise you that doing this is even worse. So first you have to find their app in the App Store, install their app, open the app, ask app not to track, set region, set language, accept user agreement, accept privacy policy, accept notifications, accept user agreement, privacy policy again, register new user with email password, refuse newsletter subscribe, allow disable location, name your home, search for device, enable Bluetooth search, Bluetooth will fail, use QR code, enable camera, type your Wi-Fi password, push button on vacuum cleaner, click I have heard the beep, join the vacuum robot Wi-Fi, do not send the apps to the background, name your robot, update firmware version, ready to start. Like, it was really horrible experience. I have created a screen recording of this whole process, and what you will see, I think I sped it up 20 times, so you can see it. Download will be a bit slow. Is it playing? Not yet. Sorry. Okay, so it's very easy. Everyone can do this, right? Okay, that's it. Now, what was the issue with this whole story? So the way the pairing works, like it's using Wi-Fi for communication, so somehow it has to receive your Wi-Fi password, right? And the way developers created this device is that it creates an open Wi-Fi access point. Your phone connects to this open Wi-Fi access point and sends the Wi-Fi password to the device through HTTP, through open Wi-Fi. So again, not great. I mean, it's a bit better than sending it to the cloud over the internet, so only other local hackers can find out your Wi-Fi password, but still not great. Actually, I was able to contact the vendor on this one, and they confirmed that this is an issue. And it took them like 5 months to claim that they fixed it. And when I tested it, I could not find the fix. So I don't know. Had no time to recheck it, but maybe it's fixed. It's not. I don't know. It's Schrödinger's security vulnerability. But I got a CVE for this one. And I believe this is a very universal problem with all of these smart devices, that how do you pair the device using the mobile app? And actually, using Bluetooth would be nice, but not everyone is doing that. And the other interesting solution is to, for example, use a camera on a device. I found this on a very cheap IP camera, that the mobile app generated a QR code, and I had to show the QR code to the camera, so it was able to decrypt my Wi-Fi credentials. I think it's a lot better than sending it over the clear text. And actually, this Ecovacs robot cleaner, it had a camera, so there was this option to do this one, but no, they did not do this. All right. Yeah, just some quick fun before you all are too bored. This is the evolution of smart products. First, it makes toast, and at the end of the day, it will tell you toast. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. So I don't know, is there any toast which is subscription-based yet? Maybe someone will figure this out and do it. It will be great. All right, let's do this next one. It's a very cheap Android smart TV box. And I actually ordered this from AliExpress. And it's good that now you can see the very bottom of the slides. It claimed that it has Android OS version 11.1. And I'm not highlighting it with red. On the website, it was highlighted with red because they are very proud that they are having this version. I mean, back then it was okay, like it's an older box. The problem is that there is no Android version 11.1. There is no such Android version. And the other problem is, so there is this property file which Android uses to get the information it advertises from itself. And here I highlighted that, yeah, they did set the Android version to this string. But what's interesting is that they kept the old security patch date, 2017, and Android 11, which is allegedly older than 11.1, was released in 2020. So I'm not very good at math, but I can even calculate that something is very fishy here, right? So I don't know whether it was just the developer lying or the whole company knew what they were doing. But actually it turned out that this smart TV box has bigger issues than lying about its Android version, because after it's operating for a while, it will get some firmware updates and it will install some malware in your Android smart TV box. And actually it's a really clever idea to sell cheap IoT devices to people. And smart TV box is especially a good idea because it's always on and no one really checks like how much power it draws. So it's a really nice place to hide your malware. I have not seen this functionality yet, but who knows? We are always heading to the great future, right? Okay, so this is one of my love stories with IoT and IP camera. This is the camera which got me started in IoT hacking. It was like 10 years ago. And what's really great about this device is that there are so many ways you can hack it. Like, you know, there are these projects like OWASP WebGoat, where you can practice your hacking skills because OWASP created a purposefully vulnerable device. This device can be already an IoT goat because it has all the vulnerabilities what you have to test for if you are looking for IoT vulnerabilities. So first of all, it has a telnet port enabled with default username and password, because why not? Luckily, by default, telnet will not be accessible from the internet if this IP camera is put on your network behind a net router. So that's good, only local attackers can hack it. It also had a web port on port 81. Unfortunately, this was using UPnP, which means that if on your router UPnP was enabled, then the camera could tell your router to open its port to the internet. So now it's accessible to everyone. And yeah, it was full of vulnerabilities. some which can do authentication bypass, some which can do command injection. For example, the best one is that you can get the configuration file of this IP camera without authentication, and all the passwords are clear text in the configuration file, like the admin password for the device, the Wi-Fi password if you have configured it, or if you have configured FTP or SMTP or whatever to forward the screen captures. So yeah, everything. So as you can see, it has a very long history of how people were hacking this one. And last but not least, it's really nice because it also has a cloud connection, because someone told the developer that it should work even if UPnB is turned off. So they added cloud connection to the device, as everyone. You cannot turn it off, the cloud connection. The only way to turn it off is to log in via telnet and create some IP table rules so you can block the communication. What's great about the cloud connection, that is just a wrapper over the web port. So practically all the vulnerabilities are also available through the cloud. And a guy also figured out how you can figure out the device IDs and enumerate all the devices which were sold. So this is great. I really want to highlight this go-ahead vulnerability. You might not see it, but the date when this was published was 2004. And I bought this device in 2015. And I told them that they have some horrible security vulnerabilities. They told me that, thank you, they have received this information and they will work on a patch. 10 years later, still no patch to this device. No, nada, zero. So this go-ahead web server, it also had some authentication bypass vulnerabilities, like if you delete the forward slash from the GET request, or if you change the forward slash to a backslash, or if you encode the slash. So these are really, really fun vulnerabilities. And on the right, you can see my communication with the vendor. So I checked them with them in 2016, and that was the last communication we had. Yeah, not great. I was trying to find out why is it that all the IP camera vendors have telnet enabled, and I think I have found one of the reasons why they have telnet. So there is this SDK called Rawlink, which is very popular with IP camera vendors, and it has some config settings where you can very easily turn on telnet access. And probably it was turned on by default, and no one ever bothered to turn it off. So yeah, very great. What do you think, when was the last time I bought an IP camera which had an open telnet access? When was this? Okay, so it was last year, but it's still available, so you can still buy this one. So even though some might think that this is old news, you can still buy these very, very bad devices. So yeah, here are the go-ahead vulnerabilities, and this last one is how you can, system INI is the configuration file I mentioned, and the login use parameter is the username, and the login pass parameter is the password. And I will show you the logic, how they implemented it, but practically what happens here is that if you don't give any value to these parameters, it will give you the config file. Yeah, and yeah, you just send a lot of data to it and it will crash, because why not? I believe it's actually exploitable stack overflow. And here I have a quick demo of how you can, for example, hack these devices. So first I'm using Metasploit to generate a Meterpreter file, reverse TCP one, and this camera is using the MIPS architecture and little endian. Now I'm starting Metasploit because it's Ruby, it's slow. Yeah, this is just the usual stuff. So I create a Metasploit listener so I can get the connections. Here I am using the exploit to get the admin username and password. There it is. And now I'm using an authenticated command injection. And I'm starting the telnet daemon on a different port, which I can log in without username password if I'm too lazy to figure out the other telnet port, what's the password to that. And actually, this is where I was a little bit stuck because it's very challenging to bring your own binary through telnet to this device because it doesn't have wget or curl or netcat or whatever. So here I'm using some magic with echo and hexa and whatever to copy paste the malware there, and there you can see Meterpreter session is opened and I was able to hack the device. Nothing fancy here. Yeah, that's it. So I think the first reports about these exploitable devices are from 2015. And I have checked recently and I could still find more than 600 devices which were vulnerable and were online. And I have found some evidence of exploitation attempts on those. And another researcher, Paul Marapes, checked recently how many devices are available through the cloud. It's 2.2 million of these devices are still online, which is really great. This is a very recent and for me a very interesting part of the research that I found the source code, which is very similar to the source code running on the device. This is a doorbell source code, but doorbells and IP cameras are practically the same. So on the left, you can see how you can implement a Stack Overflow vulnerability in as few lines as possible. So it's really, really bad. They never check the length of the username or password. They just copy it with string copy, and that's it. On the right, you can see the authenticated command injection vulnerability, which is practically you can do Unix commands, and it will copy it into an SH file, which gets executed every second or whatever the schedule is. Yeah, first, when I hacked this device, I was looking for a very short command where I can do and test and verify whether there's a command injection vulnerability here, and I used reboot. And that was a really bad idea because every time the device starts, this script starts. So I ended up in a reboot loop, and it was such a shitty device that the factory reset button was not working on it. So it was hard to recover this, but finally I was able to do that. So yeah, maybe don't use reboot as your first command injection test string. So I asked a friend of mine what he would think that if he checks these hacked devices, what could be the values? You know what I mean. So anyway, these were the exploitation attempts on hacked devices. Clearly, I have not hacked these devices to get these strings, but some of these exploitation attempts are quite interesting because they are using something like netcat or wget or ftpget or other stuff. And yeah, some of these devices, or I would say most of the devices, don't have these tools. So hackers are just trying to hack it, but then they just abandon the hack because they were not able to really hack it. So as you have seen in my screen recording, the initial foothold can be still challenging. And even I was cheating a little bit on that video because when I opened Telnet on port 4444, that would not be available to you as a hacker through the internet. And luckily, there is a solution to solve this, because with the command injection, you can also use the UPnPC binary, which you can find on the device. So you can just ask the router to, hey, please open port 4444 to me. It's very important functionality for the camera that I have this port open. What's interesting is that I have not seen this trick anywhere, but it works, so I don't know. So when people ask me what is my recommendation regarding these devices, previously I recommended them to put them into the trash, but that's not the best solution because someone might find it and use it again. So it's better just to burn these in hell. Yeah, this is also a nice and long joke. I really like the one in the middle where the IP camera is saying that excuse us why we participate in a DDoS attack, because that's the reality. And yeah, which one was good? Yeah, I think all of them are really good ideas. So if you are a IoT product manager, you can implement all of these features into the future devices. All right, so let's go into the Zyxel network attached storage device. Again, the way this research started, that I read on the internet that there is a 0-day on these devices and people are already exploiting it. So I was like, cool, let's buy this device and find out what went wrong here. And I was able to find a piece of code in the authentication library. And it just amazed me how people in 2020 are doing authentication. So they are reading out the etc password and another file content, then piping it through cut and grep, and they concatenating this with the user supplied string, which is clearly not checked anywhere and not sanitized anywhere. So this is a very plain vanilla command injection in the login page. And I was like, you only had one job. Like, I understand command injection after authentication. Like, it's a lot of functionality, many things can go wrong, but on the login page, please, please don't. Yeah, that's a great story. I really hope it's true. The future is awesome. This one is a work in progress, but I wanted to show it anyway. So I have an alarm system at home, and I have used all of my patience trying not to hack it, because it's in production. So if I hack it, then yeah, that's a problem. So I started with documentation, and checking the documentation, after 5 minutes, I already found some gems inside. Like the way they are doing encryption is that the first initial handshake is using the encryption keys, which you can find there. So this is clearly a very great way of rolling your own encryption, because who knows about TLS and SSL in 2025, right? So I'm pretty sure that there will be some other gems here. So I mentioned command injection a lot of times, and my colleagues checked all the IoT botnets, what kind of vulnerabilities they are exploiting. And as you can see, it's almost always command injection. So, and there's a reason for that, because it's easy and it works. And you might ask that, okay, but memory corruption is not that hard on IoT devices, right? Because usually there are no stack canaries, there is no execute bit, no ASLR, everything runs as root, so it's very easy. What could be hard? Actually, I have a better version of this screenshot. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay. No. Give me a second. Escape. Yeah. So this is a Netgear one exploit, and what's really great about exploiting IoT devices is that you have to know where your gadgets are in the memory, and every version will have a different memory layout. So this is how the authors of this Netgear exploit created their exploit. They list all the different gadgets. Like, they can query the version first, and then they hard-coded the gadgets they can use for the different versions. So it's a lot of work. And they don't cover all the versions or all the models. And I'm still scrolling, and I'm still scrolling. Right? So this is how memory corruption on IoT looks like. It's very hard to create stable exploit. Let me go back to the slides. I really don't want to get into the details of how return-oriented programming works when it comes to exploitation. But what you have to know to understand the next slides is that it's always using instructions from the code which is already in the memory. And there is this idea or technique called blind drop, where the promise is that you can exploit a service through memory corruption without knowing where all of these gadgets are. And there was a Stanford research around this in 2016. And multiple people tried to replicate the research. And long story short, turns out Stanford researchers were lying here and there in their paper, and it does not work as they described, unfortunately. So there is no universal way to do memory corruption exploits on these devices. And there's also a newer research called signal enhanced blind return oriented programming, but I have not found anyone who did any public research whether this works or not. So I don't know. I did not have the time to check this one. So maybe it works, maybe not. But as of today, it's really hard to hack IoT devices through memory corruption exploits. Another problem I have with IoT devices is that whenever I buy a new device for research, I have to install a new app. And what is even worse is that sometimes the app name does not match the vendor name. So sometimes I can't find which app I have to use to control this device. And I really hate that I have to register all the time. And once I was using Lightbulb, and it told me that, sorry, for security reasons, we have logged you out. And when I was trying to log in, it told me, for security reasons, I have to update my password. And I was like, I just wanted to turn on the bulb. Come on, so give me a break. Yeah, and they also gave me a new end-user license agreement, which I really carefully read through. So what I'm trying to say that my ideal IoT device is fully functional without cloud or internet connectivity. It has seamless auto-update. There are no undocumented backdoor ports or accounts, and no documented ones. I don't need any vendor-specific mobile app to control these. It's open source, secure, and private. And for a long time, it looked like that I'm asking a lot. And this is something which does not exist. But now I can tell you that I think there's a combination of things which is good. That's just my opinion. You don't have to accept it. But for example, on the operating system layer, I believe that the Zephyr RTOS is really good. For example, they are using Secure Boot. It's really nice because it's not a Linux and there's no Busybox inside, which means there's no shell, which means there's no command injection. So that's great. I also really like this new standard called Matter. It's an application layer protocol, which means, and the promise of Matter is that you can control your Matter-compatible devices from different ecosystems. So you can control it from Android or iOS or Home Assistant or whatever you want. So you don't have to stick with one ecosystem anymore. When it comes to devices which operate on battery, I believe Thread is a great option. It's like Zigbee or Zigbee++ or the new Zigbee. Actually, it's using the same radio chips as Zigbee, but with a different firmware. It's a bit more modern, faster, uses less energy, and it's really great with the mesh networks, for example. On the server layer, I really like the Home Assistant because it's open source and it's private, so there's no cloud feedback and no one knows that I turned on my light bulb. And last but not least, I added recently that I believe that on the CPU layer, it's really great if it's a RISC-V CPU, because it's a free and open instruction set architecture, and it's cost effective, and it can get really great performance as well. So if an IoT device or ecosystem has these modules, I truly believe that that's light years better than what we had in the past. And just a disclaimer, the company I work for is the member of the Alliance who created Matter and Thread. But the previous slide is still my personal and professional opinion. So you do what you want with this information. There's a great conference ongoing right now in the Netherlands. It's called WI 2025. It's every 4 years, and they are changing the name every year. And I really like their latest badge because it also has Thread and Matter support. And the reason I put this here, because I think they are kind of this underground type of hackers, and if they are using Thread and Matter in the badge, then I believe it's not that bad. So, and they also have LoRa in the badge. I really hope that I can get my hands on one of these badges. It's really cool. And last but not least, I would like to show you some GitHub statistics on how huge these projects are. So, for example, Matter has 26,000 closed pull requests and more than 11,000 closed issues. Yeah, Zephyr RTOS, it had almost 120,000 commits. Yeah, Home Assistant, 86,000 closed pull requests. So these are very huge projects, and it needed collaboration from many people to get here. So I believe this also shows that developing IoT devices is not easy. So there's a reason why IoT devices in the past had such horrible user and security experience. So as you can see, it's hard, but I believe that we are getting there. And in the past, when people ask me, okay, what do I recommend for IoT use at home? I was like, don't use it. But now, if these components are used, I believe they are good. And I also have a Matter workshop running in the Embedded Systems Village. So if you have time, find me, and you can also play with that train, and you can control it through Wi-Fi using Matter. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you for your attention. And if you want to find me, you can read about all of my research on my blog, and that's the correct valid domain name for my blog. It's https://www.zoltanbalazs.com.com. Why not? Because I can. All right, thank you. We still have time, so if you have any questions, I try to answer those. Yes?
You said that a lot of IoT hacking, for memory backup, they use static offsets. Has there been a lot of research into dynamic gadget finders?
Into dynamic?
Like gadget finders, where it will read in the binary and find gadgets.
But in order to use the gadget finder, you already need access to the binary, right? So, and that's the problem. That I believe that people creating this Netgear exploit I was showing to you, they use gadget finder to create this database. But the problem is that if it's an unknown device, then you can't know where the gadgets are before hacking it. Yeah. So you have to hack it to hack it. That's the chicken and egg problem. All right, thank you.